Okay, let's talk about that invisible thing, that force that just gets in the way and sabotages sales for so many founders. Look, this isn't about your sales script or your tactics. It's about the internal story you're telling yourself, and it is absolutely time for a reset.
You know that feeling, right? That exact moment. You've built amazing rapport, you've laid out all the value, and then, just as you're about to say the price, you feel it. It's a physical thing, a shudder, maybe a tightness in your chest, this feeling like you're about to be a huge bother. It's so common, but what if I told you it has almost nothing to do with how good you actually are at sales?
See, this is the big idea right here. That feeling, it isn't a sign that you need to go buy another sales course. No, it's a sign that your brain is stuck on an old, totally outdated story. You're not actually fighting the customer in that moment. You're fighting a narrative inside your own head. And you just can't win that fight with a better pitch deck.
So to really get this, we have to diagnose the root cause. It actually has a name, and just seeing it for what it is, that's the first step to fixing it. We call it the memory tax.
Just think about that. It's like a tax on your confidence. Every single time you go to make an offer, this tax gets charged, and it drains your conviction. It drains your energy. It is the incredibly steep price you pay for running your sales calls on an old memory, maybe just a single moment from your past, instead of the mountain of positive evidence you have right now.
And this is not just some theory. Let me tell you about a founder we talked to. She was completely convinced she was just awful at sales. So we dug in, trying to figure out why. And it wasn't because of years and years of failure. Nope. It all came down to one single awkward conversation from years ago where one person said she was being a little too pushy. That's it. One comment. Can you believe that? That one little sentence became a ghost. It literally haunted every single sales conversation she had after that. It didn't matter that she'd had hundreds of other positive interactions. That one negative data point was the one her brain decided to cling to. And just like that, the I'm pushy story was born. Now, this is so important to understand. That shudder, that hesitation you feel, it is not a character flaw. It's a biological glitch. Your nervous system logged that one awkward moment as a legitimate threat. And now it fires off these warning signals every time you're in a similar situation, even when the reality today is completely different. It's an error in the system, not an error in you. So how do you fix a system error like that? Well, you don't fight it head on. You overwhelm it with new, undeniable data. This is where we get to put the old narrative side by side with the current reality. Just look at this contrast. It's kind of wild, isn't it? On one side, you have the old story, built on one painful memory. I'm pushy. But then you look at the other side, the current evidence pulled from actual recent client feedback. You have people saying, "Thank you for making this so clear," or "I felt so supported making this decision." I mean, one is basically a ghost story, the other is cold hard data.
So I want you to do something for me. Just pause for a second and ask yourself this right now. What does your data say? Seriously, if you scrolled through your emails, your texts, your DMs from the last 6 months, what's the actual pattern? I would bet you'd find a lot more people thanking you for your help than you'd find any proof for that old nagging story. Okay, so once you've gathered the real evidence, you need a way to actually integrate it, to make it the new default setting for your nervous system. This is where we shift from diagnosis to prescription with a really simple but powerful framework. The protocol is super straightforward. First, you just name the old belief. Write it down. I am not good at sales. Second, you go find the proof that it's a lie. List 3 specific, real examples from recent clients that completely contradict that story. And third, right before your very next sales call, I want you to read those 3 examples out loud. Anchor yourself in that truth, not the old memory. When you start doing this consistently, something pretty profound starts to shift. You stop performing sales, and you start operating from this place of grounded conviction. You actually start selling from your truth. And that right there, that gets to the absolute heart of it. Your power was never actually gone. It was just being suppressed by that darn memory tax. But the moment you decide to operate from current evidence, that power comes flooding right back. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about reclaiming who you already are. Remember that shudder we talked about at the very beginning? Well, it gets replaced by this feeling of calm. The hesitation, that turns into conviction. The awkwardness is replaced by a steady, confident presence. You get to show up as the expert guide you actually are, because you finally believe the evidence your clients have been giving you all along. So the real question isn't whether you're good at sales, it's whether you're willing to trust your evidence more than you trust your fear. Rebuilding your sales identity isn't about hype or faking it, it's about getting back to what's true.
And if you're ready to anchor yourself in that truth, well, making that pivot from evidence-free fear to fact-based conviction is the most logical next step you can take.